Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Tonight, I am going to unbox and take a first look at the Liberation of Rietburg from KOSMOS Games. So, come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com. Take two, right? Yeah, so things have been very crazy because the reality is tonight I was supposed to be sharing an interview with my friend Julie Ahern from Greenbrier Games, and she had a problem with her internet. So we weren't able to do that tonight, or today, earlier today. So I kind of had to scramble around to get everything set up because I figured, well, you know, we were going to take a look at the Liberation of Rietburg on tomorrow's show. So, okay, instead we're going to look at it tonight. But I completely zoned out on changing the opening graphic. So the opening graphic was actually showing Half-Truth, which I did an unboxing and first look at last night, and no one seems to be interested in that game at all. So I was like, jeez, man. I had one person viewing it live, Sportsman Z was hanging out in chat, and I actually have more people who've watched the second part of my live play for Call of Cthulhu The Haunting than have actually, and that I posted that this morning. That went live this morning. So more people have watched that than have watched the unboxing for a game that's coming soon, and it's designed by Richard Garfield and Ken Jennings of Jeopardy fame. Well, kind of weird. Anyway, all right, as I mentioned, it is Tuesday night. Tonight is April 28th. This is episode 478 of The Daily Dope. I want to mention, if this is the first time you've tuned in, very, very casual. It's not rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. Normally, I do share tabletop gaming news of the day. Since the pandemic has been going on, news has been kind of little drips and drabs, and some days we get some news, other days we get nothing. So what I've been doing is simply providing unboxings and first looks and page throughs, some reviews, did some live playthroughs as well. Just, have a little fun. Do want to mention, I believe I am going to be going back to the news format beginning next week because we are starting to see things break a little bit. Warehouses are starting to open. So we'll see what's going on. And the funny thing is, if I don't have any news, we'll do something. We'll mess around. We'll have some fun. Of course, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. If you do, ring that little bell. It'll not only notify you when the Daily Dope streams live, Monday through Thursday nights, it'll also let you know when I upload standalone videos, such as the second part of The Haunting. Woo! Which popped up this morning. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And because this is a live stream, there is chat available on YouTube. And it's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but I do my best to pay attention to the chat. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you got a question, comment, by all means, fire away. I will do my best to respond. So far tonight, we've got the Madman and Kabuki Kid hanging around in chat so far. I am going to take a guess that our chat is probably going to be a little quieter tonight because Mo's Game Table, who does a lot of, well, I think Mo focuses only on war games and conflict sims. He's got a big live show he's doing right at the same time tonight, and he's actually giving away a copy of Tank Duel from GMT, which big thumbs up. In fact, if you follow me on Twitter, I put out, hey, maybe you should watch Mo's show if you don't have Tank Duel. Come check me out later. So Kabuki Kid is talking about the Half Truth game from last night. And just by looking at it, Kabuki Kid is mentioning that it does have a bit of a Wits and Wagers flavor to it. And I had mentioned that just from looking at what I saw on the box. Because there's like a little like betting on who's got the right answers and stuff like that. But it's kind of interesting. I will have a review of it in the near future. I am not going to knock myself out getting the review out there, though, because number one, I don't believe it's hitting stores until this summer. And number two, I'm not getting any traction on that video at all. Although the folks, the PR company was like, hey, we really like the video. Don't know. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to jump into the unboxing and first look pretty quickly. And then there are a couple of things that were kind of on my mind I want to talk about a little bit before I wrap up the show. But let's jump on into the unboxing because this looks pretty interesting. I enjoyed Legends of Andor, and this is another World of Andor game we're taking a peek at. And it is the Liberation of Rietburg. Taking a guess that is what that is. Rietburg. It's designed by Gerhard Hecht with artwork provided by Michael Menzel. Game is for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up. Plays in around 40 minutes. Does carry an MSRP of $29.95. This is arriving shortly. This will be out soon. It is not out just yet, but you can pre-order it. Let's jump on in. Ta-da! There we go. Sweet. Oh, we've got this is not a huge footprint box. It's a good size box, but it's not massive. So let's flip this on over here, and it says creatures from all across the land of Andor have invaded and occupied the fortress of King Brandur. Only by working together will you be able to complete the tasks and free Rietburg Castle. You will only learn exactly which tasks those are during the course of the game. You will find helpful objects and meet new friends who will support you in your efforts. Your heroes possess special abilities and will fight the creatures by moving from one location to another with the help of cards. Group battles are also possible, but hurry! Complete the tasks as fast as you can, for once the ancient dragon appears in the sky, you will all have lost together. All right, let's get the shrink off of here. Pop on in. I guess I probably shouldn't move that hobby knife too far away because I'm sure we have some decks of cards that are in here as well. All right, like the artwork so far. Artwork's pretty nice. Andor, Legends of Andor is an interesting game. I enjoyed it. It is a it's interesting for the fact that it is a fantasy game with a very Euro style of play. So pretty interesting. So we've got rules. What we got here? Maybe 8 pages. 8 pages. We'll look at the rules in just a sec. We've got some punch boards here. We've got cards. We've got a cool tuck box with artwork on it. I'm going to take a peek at that in just a sec. So that's nice. KOSMOS has been sending a good amount of interesting games for us. I also got the latest Exit the Game from KOSMOS as well. It's the I'm trying to remember. Death on the Mississippi or something along those lines. So the Madman says that he is really looking forward to this unboxing because this is on his wish list. All right, so I will just kind of drag this out, leave you in limbo for a bit. Okay, so we'll take a look at the rules here. So we see game concept and goal. So we know we have to pretty much eliminate the monsters, free the castle before the dragon arrives. So it's telling us we got 19 hero cards. We have friend cards and counter cards. Got a small game board. This doesn't look like this is going to take up a lot of space on the gaming table. This token here is Cram's Axe. By Cram! I am Conan! Get the 6 standees for the heroes. Oh, and that's showing us the setup. So it looks like we have different locations that the heroes are in. Like these are the locations here. If you're playing with 4 heroes. Once again, the game is for 2 to 4 players. We've got encounter cards. Says we've got 2 kinds of encounter cards. Some are creature cards, the other are objects. About the hero cards, friends. See, I wouldn't get any of these because I don't have any friends. But I could get the narrator cards because I do a lot of narration, don't I? Task cards. Talking about the course of play. End of the game and victory. Here's that dragon showing up. Guess when that dragon shows up, you can pretty much scratch out that victory. Just have end of game. Get some additional rules as well. There's Cram's Axe by Cram. Right, and then we get an explanation of the symbols on the hero cards. Very cool. 8 pages. Some images throughout. I'm kind of surprised that when we got to some of this stuff, like the course of play, I thought maybe we would see a little more of a layout as far as the with some images in that, but really you're kind of looking at 2 pages. So you get free actions. You can pick up an object from a location. You can pass friends and objects to another hero. You can turn over a face down task card. You can complete a face up task card. Nice. Pretty cool. Okay, so I've got that. All right, let's take a look at the punch boards. And we will actually zoom in a little bit. We can get a better look here. That we don't have to worry about 2 pages of rules showing up. Okay. Here's that Cram's Axe. Here is some sort of water creature. This looks like a water giant. Strangely enough, we got some tomes. Looks like we have some books here. I don't know what these would be. Maybe these are health markers? No. It's not health markers. I don't know. Flip them over, and we have dual sides. So here it's showing what these books do for you. That's probably going to give you extra movement. We have some equipment. I wonder if we're going to have different things on the back of these when we flip them over. We've got the 6 available heroes to you, which I always appreciate when games give you extra character. One thing that I'm never a fan of is, let's say for an example, the game plays up to 4 players and you only get 4 characters. And I know, as weird as this sounds, I mean, I don't care if I'm playing a board game or something and my character's a female and whatever. And so what? I'm just playing the game. Some people freak out about that stuff. Really do. So in my personal opinion, if you got like 4 players, you should probably have like 8 characters. You can have the characters be a male and female who are basically the same character. So we've got, that's kind of cool. We got the front and back of them. And all this is a number on the quivers. So I am not positive what that might be. Then we have a small board. This is a little board here. I will zoom back out a little bit here so you can see that. But it's not big. I don't have massive hands. So the Kabuki Kid says, yeah, I've seen those people. So let's see. Let me jump back into chat because there was some discussion about the trivia game from last night. And I figured I'd let that continue. But I wasn't going to chime in about it simply because we're looking at a KOSMOS game tonight. Let's see. So, the new Targi expansion is coming from KOSMOS in English, right, rather than German. So, yep. So the Madman says he has not experienced people having a problem with a particular gender of a board game character. I have. Oh, I tell you, we're gonna chat about a couple of things before the show's over tonight. But that I'm sitting here scratching my head. So that's the board. We got the board there. Let's see what else we've got. So we have these are the little standees. So I don't think we really need to open this up to take a look. They're just stands for the standees. So Man says my current Savage Worlds game. Boy, I gotta ask, do you get paid by them, Madman? Because you're always talking Savage Worlds in chat. Just kidding. Yeah, Pinnacle Entertainment keeps you on the payroll for you to go hang out on live streams and talk about Savage Worlds. So, and all but two of the characters. Okay, so it's 5 guys and a girl, woman, gal, whatever you want to say. 5 men, 1 woman. All but 2 characters are male. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Madman says it's the other way. Only 2 are male. Huh. Okay. You know, like I said, I have run across people who just. Even if it was like especially role-playing games, I see this a lot. If it was a one-shot adventure, they'd just go completely nuts. No way, I'm not playing a woman. Most of the way people role-play anyway, there is absolutely no gender identification the way they play games. The vast majority, I know I'm getting off track. Vast majority of role-players out there, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this, it just happens to be how it is, kind of approach almost every role-playing game as if it's like, what if I were in this situation? That's their characters. Yeah, and I mean, that's fine. That's okay, but I kind of laugh. Like, I'm not playing a woman. Why? Every character you play, doesn't matter, they could be mold. And they're still gonna be just, what would Joe Bob be doing in this situation, regardless? All right, come on. What's going on? Where's our little tab here? Oh, good thing I got the hobby knife. Okay. So it looks like we have some player references here as well. So let's zoom back in and see these cards a little closer up. I want to make sure that these are in focus. Okay, so we've got, let's take a look at this deck here. So we've got symbols on narrator cards. Talking about, like, these are the actions you can perform. Or maybe, oh, no, actually this looks like this is kind of just an overall reference card. Kind of what the symbols here mean. So we've got battle strength of the character, battle strength of the hero, movement. Yeah, I figured the little boot was going to be movement. The back here. Special hero abilities. Cram uses his axe. Ira uses a book of spells. Keela is can have a water spirit. So that's what that was, a water spirit. So those were 3 heroes. Is that it? That's all we get. The other heroes don't have any special abilities. So we got a deck of narrator cards. Got a deck of I think those are, I'm going to take a guess, these are probably locations. We're going to look at these in a sec. Creatures. I think that's kind of cool how it's like these eyes just looking out of the dark. So these should be the hero decks now. Okay, so we've got 3 cards there. 3 cards there. Oh, 4 cards now. I took an arrow to the knee. That does look a little bit like John Bean there. Okay, so that one's got 3, 3, and 3. And then these are the friends. It looks like these are the friends. Nice artwork. Pretty nice artwork. I mean, it's not, rocking my world or anything like that, but pretty nice. Pretty standard, what looks to be kind of like low fantasy setting artwork here. These are, well, those are the friends. Now we got, these are the objects, I guess. Some of the like treasures that you can get. The brother shield. Horn, wineskin. I will mention the cards do have a bit of a chemical odor to it. Not super strong, but I do kind of smell a bit of an odor. Skeleton warrior, Flugar. Okay, so we had some objects, now we're into monsters here. Got those, we got Gores. Bigger baddies, the Skrull. Trolls. And one thing I do notice is, I believe, you have some variation in the strength, right? So we see these 2 have 5, and then this one's 6. So, Skeleton Warrior, there's only one. It's only one skeleton. Yes, Kabuki Kid mentions it's an air it out first game. Yes. I learned, it was a Hollandspiel game designed by my pal Fred Manzo. And I was doing the unboxing, and wow, the ink from that printed map it was a paper map. It was like, whoa, almost knocked me out. And I left that out for a while before that aired out enough. Another way that, as weird as this sounds, you can air out games is odor eaters. So, don't know what to tell you. I did that a couple of times because I had received some games that, and this was even as I was a smoker for 40 years, so almost not. But I got some games and they came from a household where the kids must even smoked. I was like, wow. And I put odor eaters in them and it worked out pretty nice. So we've got narrator cards. So it says whenever a hero revitalizes his hero cards, I guess we're probably talking about refreshing them, right? The top card in this deck is turned over and activated. So these look like some events that take place. A shape emerges from the gatehouse. What is it up to? Showing we're supposed to draw one of those cards. Something just moved high up on Brandor's tower. Then the creature appears. That's kind of cool. So we've got 2 sides of these too. We've got a top and a bottom. So it looks like if maybe we've got inside the castle and outside the castle, because it looks like these are all castle related up top. Oh, so as far, oh yeah, that's the gatehouse. I'm gonna say, as soon as I open my mouth, it's like ding. But yeah, that's the gatehouse. There we go. Cool. So we got a bunch of those. Uh-oh. And then we have some that are red. I guess these are more dangerous. What it appears to be there. Okay, so what are these cards? Okay, so these look like these are big bad. So Kabuki Kid mentions that someone they knew had an issue with their copy of Castle Ravenloft. Had a strong petroleum smell. You know, I never actually had an opportunity to play that game. That was back when Elliot was part of the gaming gang. And I know he had that. And for some strange reason, that actually rings a bell. I seem to recall he had mentioned that. That the game had a real serious stink. So Kabuki Kid's talking about buying some books from Rob Kuntz. I remember him. And he was a heavy smoker. They were all heavy smokers back in the day. Yep, there you go. Bounce sheet. That's another good way to get rid of smells in games is dryer sheets. Put dryer sheets in. I've done that as well. So Casey Board Gamers has arrived, hanging out. So we've got King of the Flugers, Drunken Troll, the Fire Spirit, the Black Herald, the Prisoners, Tron, the Son of Hark. Hey, at least all of these are unique. That's kind of cool. So it's some of these are telling us to do different stuff as well. The Arbarks. We got some monsters. The Ballista. So these aren't necessarily all monsters. Some of these are actually look like they're something that's going to benefit us as well. The Giant Troll. Render's Honor Guard. Rufus the Plunderer from the Riverlands. I am Rufus the Plunderer from, you guessed it, the Riverland. All right, so that's that deck. Looks like this, even for a small game, it looks like there's a bit cooking to this. Looks like there might be some decent replayability as well. So now we got more monsters, but these look like these are kind of unique. No, maybe not. They're just different, more monsters. Unless these are monsters that are located. No, wait, it's all the same deck. No wonder. I'm gonna say, why does this look? It was just carried out from the other deck. It's kind of weird. Okay, so we got the Troll, got the Skrull, got another monster there. Oh, then we got the red. I guess these are a little bit tougher. A red skeleton warrior? Okay. Cool. Edrock Fair. Shaman. And Shan the Shadow Witch. Cool. Alright. So, and allow me to kind of show you tuck box inside. Cool, I like that. It's very nice. So, all right, we got the monster deck, and we'll zoom back out a little bit. We got the monster deck. We've got the character decks and friends. Narrator cards. Got all of that. We've got the little standees. We've got the small game board. Couple of punch boards with tokens on them. And the standees for the heroes. 8-page rule book. And that's what we find when we take everything from the Liberation of Rietburg outside the box. I will have a review of this in the near future as well, so stay tuned for that. Probably a couple of weeks or so is my guess. All right, do want to point out once again, that the Liberation of Rietburg is from KOSMOS Games, designed by Gerhard Hecht, with artwork provided by Michael Menzel. Game is for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, plays in around 40 minutes. Does carry an MSRP of $29.95. You can pre-order it now. All right, so that is it for the unboxing tonight. So if you feel like hanging out for a few minutes, there are a couple of things, well, a trio of things that I did want to talk about. First of all, I should have my interview with Julie Ahern on tomorrow night's show. So that will probably be the main focus of that show. And if you missed the opening of the show, I am kind of bouncing around, going back to the news focus for the Daily Dope every night, simply because we're starting to see a bit more gaming news coming out. Although, mark my words, this is just my opinion. I had a couple of people email me, just kind of nasty. I'm going to get into talk about something about that in a minute too. How how dare you say they're going to cancel Gen Con? Why I ought to. I have nothing to do with it. I'm bummed out too, because it's not just Gen Con I'm missing out on. I'm going to miss out Origins, because I know in October, where they have it rescheduled, it's going to be in the middle of the second wave of coronavirus. I really do have my fingers crossed that it will not be as bad as it's been, but usually second waves of pandemics are worse. But we're going to be in a second wave of that. I don't think that's going to take place. So San Diego Comic-Con's off. UK Game Expo was just canceled. So that's I was not going to that, but that is off the calendar. Spiel, I don't see Spiel happening. So don't email me because you're pissed off like I'm sitting there going, well, mark my words, by the end of this week, you're going to hear Gen Con's canceled. I'm telling you, it's the vibe I've got. I'm just telling you that. I am not crowing about it. I'm not happy about it. But then again, in the state of the world as it is today, I mean, how many of us would really want to be packed in with, well, at Comic-Con it's about 140,000 people, but Gen Con it's usually about 60 to 80,000. Origins is much smaller. I think Origins usually pulls in about 15 to 20, but still, that is a lot of people to be around. And I don't know, you really want to be sitting there gaming with your mask on and talking to people with a mask. And okay, so this is not a napkin. That's not a mask. So yes, a couple of people just real pissy with me because I'm saying that you watch, Gen Con's going to be canceled. The reason why they haven't done it yet is, now this is just my impression. I might be wrong, but there's always like an act of God clause. I forget what exactly. There's a specific term for it that's very bizarre. It's kind of an act of God clause, and it's in just about every contract you'll ever run across. So what's happening here is the folks behind Gen Con are waiting for somebody, if it's not going to be the president, possibly the governor of Indiana or the mayor of Indianapolis, to say there will be no gatherings of X number of people up until this date. And at that point in time, they can cancel it and they can get out of whatever commitments they had to like hotels and things like that. Just like if you're looking at exhibitors for Gen Con, they can't cancel. They better not. They better not be sitting there going, well, no matter what, we're not going. Because they probably wouldn't get their deposits back because they're basically canceling. But if they wait until the act of God clause would kick in, then everybody's off the hook. So the thing is, if you've got a badge for Gen Con, don't cancel yet. Wait until it cancels, because if you cancel now, they'll keep like an administrative fee. Or they might say, well, your badge is good for Gen Con, 2021, which is fine if that's what you want to do. That's cool. But most people probably don't want their convention badge to just roll over to the next convention. But if you hold off, wait until it gets canceled, they're going to refund you the money. They will not hang on to, they shouldn't hang on to an administrative fee. So anyway, that's the only reason why Gen Con is not canceled yet. And I had pointed out, Steve Bonacore and I were talking about this too. It'll be canceled. It won't be rescheduled, because if you have not been to Gen Con, it's at the Indiana Convention Center, which is in Indianapolis, which is right next door to Lucas Oil Stadium where the Colts play. And when I say it's right next door, there is a walkway that you go down. It takes about 5 minutes, and you're in the stadium. Past few years, they've actually expanded some events in that now take place for Gen Con in the stadium. In fact, it was kind of cool. Now, I didn't go over there last year, actually onto the field. The year before that we did, because that's where they actually had the Gen Con Museum, and they had the game library there. It was actually very cool. So let's see what's going on in chat here. Force majeure. Thank you, Kabuki Kid. That is exactly what like I said, I just couldn't remember what it's called. I remember it was force something. I couldn't remember. It's lethal force. Thanks for that. Kabuki Kid says Gen Con will be canceled without any doubts. So also says, I hope that we don't have a second wave. Oh, there'll be a second wave. There is. Gonna be a second wave. There's once again, it is not something I'm like, oh yeah, well, but about 10-12 years ago I started reading up a lot on the influenza pandemic of 1918, because I saw, I don't think it was American Experience, it may have been American Experience, but on PBS, and there was like a documentary that was about the flu pandemic in 1918, and I was like, holy cow. So I started reading up on it, and we better keep our fingers crossed that it does not end up like that, because in that pandemic in the spring, people died, but the doctors were actually kind of wondering, is this even influenza, because not enough people were dying. But then when the fall came and lots of people were dying, the doctors were like, is this influenza, because too many people are dying? So, yes, and it's funny, they call it the Spanish flu, as Kabuki Kid is actually chiming in with the same exact things. They call it Spanish flu. It didn't originate in Spain. They believe it did originate in the U.S. I think Kansas, is, if I remember correctly, Kansas or Pennsylvania, something like that. But it was called the Spanish flu because the Spanish press did not have the same kind of World War censorship. Remember, World War I was taking place. America had just gotten into the fight, and they were shipping troops over to Europe. And the Spanish press did not have the same sort of censorship and limitations as other allies. And for an example, like in the U.S., there was loads of censorship. Wilson went way beyond his powers to clamp down, throw people in jail. I mean, people talk about Abraham Lincoln was pretty tough on people who were unionists, but not on the same wavelength as him. Oh no, Woodrow Wilson was way worse. But yeah, so in the press, there's a great book. It's called I said it's a great book. It's called The Great Influenza. Check out the audiobook if you like audiobooks. Scott Brick is the narrator. It is excellent. Kabuki Kid also mentions that yeah, if I remember right, yeah, I think the King of Spain died from it too. That was the weirdest part. Is it wasn't like the young and the old who were the the major victims of the Spanish flu. It was people in their mid-20s to mid-30s, which made it very unusual. Yes, H1N1 is the same virus, little different, tiny bit different as the Spanish flu. So, yep. Anyway, yes, and there is, talk about that, I know, it's kind of weird. It's a game, not podcast, game stream. Thinking podcast, and somebody invited me to be on a co-host a podcast with them, and I was like, no, can't. I don't have time. Scientifically, I'm trying to remember, there's a term, and I almost want to say it's called passage, which with a virus, the more people get the virus, the more virulent the virus gets. As it passes from one person to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, it gets stronger. I believe it's called passage. All right, enough about that. So, all I'm saying, I am not happy about Gen Con. I'm wearing a Gen Con hat right now. I'm a big fan of Gen Con. It is my favorite convention of the year, every year. So, I will be bummed. Plus, it is also someplace that I unload games that I know I'm not going to play ever again after reviewing them. I put those up in the auction so they can get a good home. And I make a few bucks off that too. So that's not going to be happening. Anyway, so talking about nasty people. I'm going to be the first to point out, and I have to point this out every once in a while. It is not my fault, and I'm not talking about the people watching chat. I'm not talking to 99% of the people who actually stick around and check out this show. I'm talking about the 1% who pop in, who've never watched this before, have no idea what the gaming gang is, who I am, what the Daily Dope is, none of that. And get all snippy in a comment. Because this isn't what they thought it was going to be. And they're too lazy to actually look in the show notes to find out. I had some jerk off, excuse my French. I'm not going to use worse language than that, even though they did. Commented on an old video I did where it was back when I would open with the news and then I'd do like a game review or unboxing, what have you. And the shows could be an hour and a half long, which is not the case now. So they posted a comment and it was like, what the F? And they're dropping F-bombs and they're like, 35 minutes until you actually even get into the game and blah, blah, what the F? And you need to F and do this and F and do that. So of course, my response was, hey, it's not my fault you're too stupid to look at the show notes where there were time stamps. You could have gone right to what you wanted to see. All I gotta say is, just like on the website, if you think you're gonna sit there and like berate me or something like that, when you're sitting there and your YouTube account is like 1 subscriber, you have no content, and that 1 subscriber is actually you, I'm not going to let your comments sit there. You know, to be honest, I remove it because, honestly, I tend to have people who do watch the stream and who check out the videos, take those people out to the woodshed. And I don't need all that crap on my videos. Comments I like to see are like, hey, I enjoyed this game. Hey, you're right about that. Oh, I agree with your review. That's fine. That's kind of stuff I want. I don't want people fighting back and forth and shit like that. That's not what I'm about. So, 2 other things. Number 1, do want to point out that I had the contest for the free copy of John Carter of Mars role-playing game from Modifius Entertainment. It was in PDF. Well, that was sent out to various reviewers, and as a thank you, Modifius Entertainment was providing us a promo code to use to get a copy of the game. Some people out there put it out there as a news piece saying, here you go, use this code, knock yourself out. So I believe now Modifius is just simply giving away the PDF. So if you are interested in getting the PDF of John Carter of Mars, Adventures on the Dying World of Barsoom, if I remember correctly, I think that's the full title of the game, in PDF, simply go to modifius.net. But it's not on Drive-Thru-RPG. You got to do it on modifius.net. Add it to your cart, and then use the promo code Virginia. Like the name, like the state, capital V, and you will get that absolutely free. And I think the PDF is, I think it's like a $20 PDF. Modifius doesn't tend to be real inexpensive with their PDFs. The other games are really cool. Very cool. Anyway, last thing. So tomorrow should be my interview with Julie from Greenbrier Games. Regardless, on Thursday, I am going to unbox and take a first look at the Bestiary Battle Cards box for Pathfinder 2nd Edition, trying to get some of that glare out of there. And this is pretty damn hefty. And I believe there are over 450 cards in here. I actually, here's the funny thing. I think a lot of you know this already. When I do an unboxing, I come to it not knowing anything. I mean, you know, sometimes I know background about it. But, like, the text on the back of this box, I haven't read it yet. First time I'll read it is when we're taking a look at it. Just kind of how I do it. A Grade A is asking if these are monster stat cards. I believe so. I believe I don't have really any first edition Pathfinder stuff, but I believe that these are kind of like monster cards to assist the game master. So I don't know. We're gonna look, but I'm pretty sure they will have like stat blocks on them. So, for an example, if you're running an adventure and you're the game master, what you can do is you can actually take the monster cards out, put them like into your onto the side. So when your player characters encounter different stuff, you can actually show them the monster, and then you've got the stats right there for you. I think. So, they also got the chase cards. Deck of chase cards. So I'll just shoot a little video with these. So a Grade A says they did the same for spells and NPC cards. Oh, sweet. That's cool. So let's see. There is an army of provocateurs on the interwebs. Professional ones, and lots of them get paid for it. You know. Alrighty. And we are going to start a live playthrough for Traveler. If you haven't a chance, please check out the second part of the Call of Cthulhu, The Haunting live play. Just to take a look and see how Fantasy Grounds works if you're not familiar with it. Because I am still not overly familiar with it. And we were having a really good time as far as, especially them, because they couldn't see me. So I don't think that comes across in the gameplay, is that they could see each other, they can't see me. And the reason is because of the camera. The camera, I can either use it to record, to show me, you know, doing my game mastering things, or I can use it to stream, and then I can't use it in the program that I use to do my streaming. Try to use the same program to do all my video. Just, to me, it's easier that way. I could probably get better effects and stuff like that if I didn't, but to me, it's just easier to be like, oh, okay, live stream this one. Oh, doing a review video recorded, use this, same thing, whatever. But I don't think it's obvious that they can't see me. So I think that had a little bit to do with the whole Well, for one, my nephew Cameron and his girlfriend have not like really played role-playing games much. They haven't played a ton of board games. It's basically when I'm over, I bring stuff over and we play stuff. They don't tend to play board games in their own time. But check it out though, because if you are looking at doing some remote gaming, you can see that even a dope like me can get the point across and share the story and stuff like that. So that was pretty fun. So we're going to do it for Traveler, and the reason why I'm going to go with Traveler is because I think the investigative aspect of the game probably is not up my nephew and his girlfriend's alley. That something maybe with a little more action. Plus, the haunting's kind of a slow burn adventure too. But I got some good ideas for Traveler. And Mongoose, Matt from Mongoose Publishing, basically asked, well, what do you want to review? So I believe we should be seeing some Mongoose Traveler stuff for us to take a look at as well. But starting on Sunday, we're going to do like an episode 0, where we're going to roll up the characters. And Elliot Miller, my best friend, his son is going to join us too. So we're going to have at least 4 players. I wouldn't mind getting a 5th. I wouldn't mind getting a 5th player in that, because like I said, I got a pretty cool idea. So Grey Day said, Seth Skurkowski has great Traveler information vids. I like Seth's videos. I got turned on to him and I just stumbled across him a month ago, maybe. And I get a kick. His Jack NPC is pretty funny too. But yeah, he you know what, he strikes you as a good guy. Because some of these people you see online, you're like, I know what you're really like when the camera's off. But he seems like he's a pretty good guy, and it could be pretty funny. Yes, he just started a new series, because he did a Call of Cthulhu series where it was like 8 or 9 videos where he kind of broke down Call of Cthulhu, like character creation and combat and magic and sanity and things like that. That's another company, Chaosium, that I reached out to, because last thing I reviewed for them was RuneQuest, the slipcase set, and that was after Gen Con of last year. So I think they've had some changes in PR. That's what happens. That tends to be exactly what happens, is that the person doing PR changes, and then sometimes you're going to another company to do PR, so they kind of take all their contacts with them, and then it's like that happened with I don't want to say the contacts were taken with, but like Free League Publishing. If you've been following the Daily Dope for a while, we were doing a good number of something would come out from Free League, we were doing a video about. We were doing a page through, follow it up with a review. And all of a sudden, nothing. Same thing. Their PR person left and went to another company, and that was it. I had to reach out to them, talking to them about doing a review for the Alien starter set for their Alien role-playing game, as well as their Tales from the Loop starter set as well. So, have I ever reached out to Pelgrane Press? Asks A Gray Day. Let me zip up here, make sure I haven't passed over anybody. Spooky Kids talking about having the old school Traveler books. I had that box set. I think I picked up that box set in 80-ish, 81-ish. And Traveler is cool. GDW Traveler, especially early on, and this was the case with a lot of role-playing games, at least in my memory, the way I kind of look at them now. They were very cut and dry. Traveler adventures were very, very cut and dry, and didn't have a ton of personality to them. they were cool. What is it? Is it Anna Nova? Is it the Anna Nova ship? Which kind of like, it's like the Flying Dutchman of space. Isn't that the adventure? Because I remember that was pretty cool. But once again, not a ton of personality. And interestingly enough, Elliot is looking to run, he was looking for superhero rules to run with his daughter, who is 13, and her friends, because they're into My Hero Academia. I think that's the name of the show, right? So he wanted to try to take like a superhero role-playing game and kind of adapt it to that. And I told him, I said, oh, hey, maybe you should check out Marvel, the old Marvel superhero role-playing game, the first one that came out in the 80s, late 80s, I think. Because you can get PDFs. I figure TSRs, they've got tons of TSR PDFs. I would think they've got the Marvel ones, seeing that I think there are still people who play out there. So, and I was taking a look at something online that was showing like some of the pages of the old Marvel superhero role-playing game, and I was like, man, this is super cut and dry. This is very technical, just technical language, just mechanical writing. I was like, wow, we've come a long way. So, a grade A, back to your question. Yes, I have reached out to Pelgrane Press, and that was a long time ago. Pelgrane Press told me, only company I've ever had tell me that they had absolutely no interest in professional reviewers, which, come on. I'm not an influencer either. I know some people are like, they've told, oh, well, you're an influencer. I'm like, no. But they said they had absolutely no interest in professional reviews. The only reviews they cared about were the reviews that came from their customers. And I thought, okay. The thing was, the way they presented it was like really nasty. Like, how dare you contact us, try to get some free stuff. I was like, whoa. Okay, fine. But that's the only role-playing game company that I have ever had any issues with. I have not really gone, I guess the term I would like to use, which we used to use all the time, I have not gone balls out with role-playing game companies, simply for the fact that those reviews do take quite a bit of time, because you got to read the book. Sometimes you got to go over the book a few times. It helps if you run an adventure. That can be kind of tough. I'll be the first to admit that when I do a review of stuff, I have not run the adventure. I do adventure reviews, and I tell people, I say that in the video. But I really love role-playing games. And if I had the collection of role-playing games that I had, even when I was maybe 23, I'd be sitting pretty. I would have been selling off some of those modules that you see going for big bucks at Gen Con in the special auctions and stuff. But to be honest, I really do need more RPG reviewers. Because Sammy, I don't know. I have no idea if Sammy's still doing reviews for me or not. I touched base with her about 2 weeks ago, just to make sure everything was all right. And she said, yeah, everybody's healthy and stuff here. It's just crazy. So I haven't had a review from her in well over a month, maybe 2 months. So I do really need some PDF reviewers, and because I get people contacting me a lot, and I'm not going to do PDF reviews. I can't do the show, do reviews for physical products, and do PDF reviews. It's just too much. I can't do it. I'm a jack of all trades, but not that many trades. All right, so most of the show's just been kind of hanging out, chatting. All right, I don't see anything else floating around in chat. Should be addressed. Go back up a little bit. No, I think we're cool. I think we are pretty cool. Oh, one thing. Man had pointed out when talking about the conventions, Dragon Con has no refund policy, no transferring to the next year. But Dragon Con hasn't canceled yet, as far as I understand. So, Bookie Kid says Aldi was talking about canceling BGG Spring, and you can't just cancel without consequences. Yeah, but Board Game Geek cons are not massive cons. And they did cancel BGG Spring. So, yeah, your hand is forced. I understand that. I do understand that too. If Dragon Con cancels and they do not issue refunds, that's going to be a big problem. There are a lot of people who won't go to Dragon Con because of certain individual who was involved in the company up until not that long ago, and who was making a profit from that convention, even though he supposedly had nothing to do with it anymore. There are some folks out there who will not go to Dragon Con. That's why I don't knock myself out to get a press pass to it. A couple of times I've gotten a press pass, but then by the time it ran around, I was pretty exhausted from other conventions, and cash was kind of low. So, all right. Anyway, well, I got my fingers crossed for you, man, that you get your bucks back. Because if I remember correctly, I don't think Dragon Con's a cheap convention. So that is it for today's show. As I mentioned, tomorrow, join me. I should have my review with you. I'm already thinking what I'm doing after I finish the show. I'm reading Traveler. Actually, I got some introductory Traveler quick start. So I want to see how much it's changed since I remember it way back in the day. Anyway, join me tomorrow. I should have my interview with Julie Ahern from Greenbrier Games. There's something else she's working on that we're going to talk about as well. Something on Kickstarter right now. Big Kickstarter. You'll find out what it is. But if something happens, I'll come up with something. We'll do an unboxing of something. Yeah, we'll look at the deck of chase cards. Hey everybody, thanks for joining me to... and then of course on Thursday, I will be, I swear this thing's heavy. Keep just going to like grab it with like a couple of fingers and I'm afraid to drop it. It'll drop right on top of my keyboard. But we will take a look at the bestiary battle cards on Thursday as well. We'll dive in. We'll look at a bunch of these. So that'll be fun. I always like bestiaries and monster manuals and things like that. So, as I like to always point out, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Do want to point out we cracked 2,300 subscribers. And just a couple of days ago, I cracked, I guess, 5,400 followers on Twitter. So, that's something, right? Anyway, subscribe to the channel if you do. Don't forget, ring that little bell, because it will not only notify you when the Daily Dope streams live Monday through Thursday nights, it will also inform you when I upload standalone videos, such as today's finale of Call of Cthulhu The Haunting from Chaosium Inc. Using Fantasy Grounds. Kind of using Fantasy Grounds. All right. So, also want to say a big thank you to all those out there who are keeping us safe and keeping us fed and keeping us supplied during this pandemic. So a big thank you to all the doctors, nurses, EMTs, firefighters, police officers, truck drivers, grocery and big box store employees, fast food employees, anybody who's out there sticking their neck out to try to keep those of us who are still sheltering in place fed and supplied. Hey, you're heroes. You really are. For those of you who have watched live, thank you very much for keeping me company and sharing some thoughts and chat, because otherwise I'd just be sitting there talking to a camera, feeling like a fool. But of course, if you watch after the fact, even if you're watching on Memorex, I certainly appreciate that as well. I welcome anybody who wants to sit up and put up with me for a little bit online. Thank you kindly. All right, everybody enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night / Wednesday morning. I'll be back tomorrow. Of course, until then, be smart, stay safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. And of course, if you want to catch up on past episodes of The Daily Dope, check out this playlist. And if you'd like to see what YouTube's recommending you take a peek at from the channel, just give a click right over here. Of course, I'm Jeff McAleer, and once again, thank you very much for watching.